Hey, what's up? This is Ian, and we are somewhere in the Midwest. Actually, we're not that far from Chicago. And so, in this video, I'm going to talk about something I was doing a lot of research on before I bought this. So, I just bought this and I flew all the way to North Dakota to get this. And then I'm driving it back to New Hampshire. So, and yeah, I'll tell you about my experience with it so far. And yeah, I think these windmills, yeah, that's kind of loud, but the windmills I think are super cool. They're kind of like zen-like. Be like a good place to out there in those fields. So if you can find a grassy spot, you could do yoga and stuff like that. Would be kind of nice place for that. Hopefully, this giant machine isn't going to come down this road. But yeah, so I'll tell you my experience, and that's like, I was looking like, so if you're thinking about buying out of state, it's probably because like you can't find a vehicle that you want, like where you are, and that was my experience. I couldn't. There were like very few options of where I was for the kind of vehicle I wanted. One like this. Another, I found like one. Yeah, I found two like 4 hours away. Not exactly the same one, but like a step van, an old postal van, and they were old. They were 87s. This is a 2003. So, and both of them I was kind of like on the fence about. In retrospect, I would have just bought them, but or about one of them. But yeah, they were kind of beat up and stuff, and pretty rusty. So there wasn't a lot of options, so that's why I started looking. And these aren't like if you're the vehicle you're looking for is somewhat rare too, then you kind of open your options up, like or I don't know, expand your horizons. Not exactly your horizons, but you know what I'm trying to say. So I talked with the seller. I'll tell you how I feel about it too right now, which is different from how I felt about it when I decided to do it, and then probably what it's going to be like in the future, how I think about it, right? So I found this van, and it was like I just kind of narrowed it down to this was my first choice. There's like probably 3 or 4 other models and that I was thinking about too, and was kind of considering. And then I saw this, and the guy was asking $10,000, and it was in North Dakota. And I just kind of threw a number out there, 6,000, which is pretty much what I wanted to spend. I didn't want to spend any more than that. And he just kind of was like, "Yeah, I got other offers or something." And then, and then I waited a few days, and I offered like 62 or 6,300, and he's no response. And then I waited, I don't know, 4 or 5 more days, and I offered 6,500, and then he said, basically said, okay. So then I like found a mechanic. So you got to read about like if you're looking for, or some people know this already, like this is all new to me. That's the first vehicle I ever bought, to be honest with you. And everybody's going to tell you to get a inspection, a mechanical inspection on it. And so I did. But so there's been a bunch of them. I thought about one in Oklahoma last year, and I sent a mechanic to look at it. I thought about one in New Jersey, and I sent a mechanic to look at it. And was there one more? There's at least 3 times. So mechanic. So what I think, you don't really know what they're doing. Like if you're in a faraway place and you send a mechanic there, like you don't really know how thorough. They got to check it and stuff like that, but it's not their vehicle, so they care less about it. And a lot of mechanics aren't going to want to like go out, leave their shop. They're usually like, okay, you bring it to us, we'll inspect it. Not a lot of people are going to be willing to go off their premises to go inspect it. So, yeah. So, but I found someone. He said he would do it, and And now in retrospect, I think like this had more problems than I anticipated. Like it looks pretty new and clean and stuff like that, and it's only actually has 65,000 miles or something like that on it, and it's pretty low, like for these vans and like, um, but I didn't really know, and the mechanic didn't really tell me much about. I've since seen. I've been to a few mechanics now to do work on this, and yeah, you don't really know. Like if you get a higher mechanic, you don't really know how thorough they're gonna be. So I think I don't know, you gotta like really write down everything you want to know about it and have them check. And I don't know, it's a little bit of luck of the draw, like on the mechanic you get and stuff too, I think. But yeah, there's like little like random stuff broken on, like the door. The door over there is kind of broken. There's like leaks and stuff, and like the last person I think really didn't like. People who've owned it before didn't like care for it that well. Like I changed the oil filter and the oil and the air filter and the fuel filter, and the air filter was really dirty. The oil was like had like when I emptied the oil, I put 2 gallons in it, but I only got like 1 gallon out of it. So, and there was like leaks and stuff like that, and so like sway bar bushings and stuff. So I think like I put those on there. Well, I didn't personally put it on there, but I gave them to a mechanic to put on there. I actually tried a little bit to do it, and I was like, man, I don't have the tools to do that, nor the expertise. So mechanic did it, but I don't know. So another thing is like you travel it, it's like way more expensive. Like, so this is also like I had to fly out here to get it. And then you got to drive back, and like right now, like it's like that's an expense. Flying there is an expense. So you really got to like put those numbers in your head, and then if like what goes wrong, and I would expect things to be worse than you think. That's what I would expect, because I was thinking like, wow, $10,000, and like this is a good deal. It's only got 60,000 some odd miles on it. But then you gradually start to find out, there's problems with it, and you get to drive it, and then it's like, yeah, there's problems with it. So you see some good things about it. It's not like super high mileage or whatever like that. So that seems good. But it's a long trip. So like wherever you go or try to get one, like I was like looking at auctions. If you've ever thought about an auction, I bid on a lot of auctions in a lot of different places, like New Jersey and Reno and lots of places. And now, like as I'm driving this home, like I guess you gotta like try to think things through as best as you can, and like, but I guess at the same time, like you don't really know until you do it, So, but driving this isn't like a sports car. It's like there's still an issue with the steering. Like I found out, like I thought it was just an alignment issue, but yeah, it doesn't. It needs like a new like steering gearbox or something, and I found out today. And the alignment that they did a little bit, but not very much, like maybe a 10 or 20% improvement. And then like a steering gearbox, like there's like all these expenses, and just like, oh man, it has me like I said, like maybe in the future, a few weeks from now, when I get home, like I'll be feeling different about things, but like it's just way expensive, like way more expensive. So if you're thinking about buying out of state, you got to really consider all the expenses, and then the expenses to go out there and get it, the expenses to get it back. And I mean, you could try to ship it. That's going to be crazy expensive. Or yeah, you could drive it back. And then there's also the other thing, like what taking some time is like a permit. Like how do you legally drive it back? Like that was something I was really thinking a lot about. And I thought originally I was going to get an out-of-state an out of state. Vermont used to have this little thing where you could get a temporary registration even if you didn't live in Vermont, and you can get a regular registration even if you don't live in Vermont. But they, like, just recently, like within the last 6 months, I was told, or something, they canceled the temporary thing. So I came out here with the head in my mind, okay, I'm going to get the Vermont temporary registration, but I found out right before I left, the day before I left, you can't do that. So then I was like, my first few days here, I was trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to get this back there legally? And I was reading all about it, and different trip permits in different states had different things. And I got this in North Dakota, and some people were saying, oh, you can just do it if you have a bill of sale. You keep a bill of sale with you, and the title, and then just drive it back. And then, if you get pulled over, show it to the cop. Other people were saying you need some sort of permit or trip permit or something like that. And well, okay, what I found is I was searching. And the other thing is, like, people in the DMV, if you call the DMV of different states and stuff like that, a lot of them don't know about all the different kinds of registrations and stuff. Like, they're kind of dumb like that. Like, not dumb, oh, they're kind of dumb. Like, they're not aware. Okay, a more polite term, I guess. There's some people there, they're working there, but they don't know all the different kinds of registration. So, like, initially I called North Dakota and asked them, like, is there some sort of trip permit or I could drive out? And the lady was like, no, but there's like, she told me about some 6 months registration I can do there, even if I don't live there, but it was like $200 or $400 or something like that. And then later I was searching online. I was like, well, where I was in North Dakota was very close to Minnesota. So then I started searching Minnesota, like how to get a trip permit or whatever. And yeah, so, and then I found like they had a $5 permit and you could just drive it out. So then I went to Minnesota, and which is right across the river, and talked to the DMV there. Like, no, you have to have bought the vehicle in Minnesota to get a trip permit. And then she's like, but check with North Dakota. And I was like, check with North Dakota? I already checked with North Dakota. She's like, no, I think they have something. So I went to North Dakota, to the DMV, and it turned out they did have something like that. So you really got to, like, whatever the state is where you're thinking about buying it, you're really going to, like, check it out and contact them. So, and see if they have a trip permit, and maybe like dig deep and try to talk to a few people or look at their website online and that kind of thing. And yeah, so really dig into it, because like I said, like, some people like work in the DMV may not be aware about that kind of thing. Like, there's different departments of the DMV. Anyways, I want to get going before there's a little bit more light to drive, and like this has been like a huge like thing. It's taken way more time than I thought it would take, and I made mistakes along the way, things I would do differently, and it's cost way more money than I thought it would cost too. So all I gotta say is, like, just really think it through, prepare as much as you can. I mean, I think a trip can be fun, but I mean, like, how far are you willing to drive and stuff like that? In retrospect, right now, I feel like, man, I wouldn't do this again. I would not do it again. So when I get home, how I feel about it, like, yeah, we'll see. So I still got a long ways to go, and I'm probably not even half, like maybe a quarter or a third of the way or something like that. So anyways, this is Ian saying so long. And if you have any questions, or if I think of anything else, I'll put it in the description below the video. All right, this is Ian saying so long.